That was a good ride. Oh, howdy neighbor. You're probably wondering why I'm on this bike. I'll tell you why. Whew, let me park this bad boy real quick. Hey, honestly, riding bikes are fun, especially when you have a nice little crew to ride with, but let me tell you something about writing a book. Look, here's the deal. You absolutely cannot learn how to ride a bike without riding a bike, right? You can't learn how to ride a bike reading a book. You can't learn it by watching a podcast. You can't even ride it by watching 1,000 people riding bikes. The only way you can really, truly learn how to ride a bike is by getting on the bike and going. Let me tell you a little story about Mark Cook growing up, right? Now, when I was growing up, maybe about 5 or 6 years old, I stayed with my aunt at one point, and she lived on a hill, right? Very top of the hill. As soon as you go on the driveway, you go straight down the hill, right? And I'm about, like, at 5 or 6 years old, and every Sunday, our family would ride bikes to the ice cream shop, which was about 5-10 minute ride, right? But guess what? Little Mark Cooks couldn't go. Why? Because Little Mark Cooks didn't know how to ride a bike. So guess what had to happen? I had to learn how to ride a bike. So we had this little blue bike that my cousin Cora owned. And what happens is, Cora said, you know what? You're gonna learn how to ride this bike. And I said, great, how am I gonna do that? So what she did is she took me on that bike and she pushed me straight down that hill. Now, because of the momentum of the hill, I had to either learn how to ride it and balance or I was gonna crash. Well, guess what? I learned really quick how to learn how to ride a bike. I used the momentum to my advantage. I balanced the bike out, I held the balance, and I just kept doing that over and over and over and over, right? There was no podcast, there was no special book, there was nothing. I didn't take no special serum. I literally had to learn. It wasn't just because I was afraid of falling, but more so because I wanted to ride bikes with my family to go get ice cream. Now, some of you'll have a dream, you'll have a goal, you'll have a vision, but this is what you do. You'll never get started. Why? Because you'll over-research. You'll listen to 8,000 podcasts. You'll talk to 15 different mentors. You'll sit there and you'll be like, oh, I'm ready to get started, but guess what you never do? You never get started. Why? Because some of you guys are afraid. I could have been afraid of that hill, but I wasn't afraid because I knew, what's scarier is being left at home and not spending time with my family, or not making a lot of money, or not being able to provide for my son so he can eat. At one point, yes, I was so broke where I had to decide, do I feed my new infant son or do I buy food for myself? Well, guess what? I always chose my son. I've been in that point. I've been in that point where my lights were turned off. I've been in that point where I had no money. But guess what I learned how to do? I learned how to make money, right? So this just isn't about the bike. This is about you taking that first step of whatever you want to do in your life to get you to a goal that you really absolutely want to accomplish, right? Because at the end of the day, some of y'all just need to get started. Some of y'all need to get over y'all fear. Some of y'all need to stop worrying about everything that can go wrong and focus on everything that can go right. If you want to accomplish your goal, the number one thing you got to do is get started. The number two thing you got to do is once you start, don't stop, because you can never ever truly accomplish your goals if you never get started. Stop trying to always figure it out. Stop trying to always over-research. That is not going to work. And just like riding a bike, once you get started and once you learn how to ride a bike, it's almost like you'll never forget. I used to hear people say, if you had a millionaire who made $1 million, then all of a sudden he lost $1 million because of his partner screwed him over or whatever. Guess what he knows how to do? He knows how to go make another $1 million. But if he would have never learned how to make that first $1 million, then he wouldn't be able to know how to make those millions after he experienced the loss. So I'm hoping you guys get the big picture. The big picture is stop not getting started. Stop being so afraid. Stop being so scared. Sometimes you just gotta go. Just like I was on that hill. Once my cousin pushed me out that driveway and down that hill, I just knew survival. But guess what? I didn't even care about falling. I just wanted to spend time with my family so I can ride bikes and spend time with my family and get ice cream. That's all I wanted to do. And that's the same thing if you're an entrepreneur. That's the same thing if you have a big idea. That's the same thing if you want to go take that class. It's the same thing if you want to learn those lessons. It's the same thing. Stop being afraid. Stop over-researching. Stop overthinking. I just did a talk about that. Sometimes you gotta stop thinking about it and just go. But you'll never learn. You'll never get the experience until you get on the bike and go. I'm telling you, you can read every book, you can watch every video, you can talk to every person, and they can give you all the details. But none of that's gonna matter until you implement what they taught you and execute. Stop waiting. Again, you cannot learn how to ride a bike by watching other kids and reading in a book. Yeah, it's going to help, but guess what you're ultimately gonna have to do? You're gonna have to get on that bike and go. So I'm telling you, the only way you can be successful, the only way you can accomplish your goals, I'm just telling you from experience, is when you make that choice and you put into a situation when you just gotta go, that's that's your time to go. Don't think about it. Just go. MC Inspires, Black Superman. Hey, you guys be phenomenal. I haven't said this in a while, but I'm gonna start saying it more. This is what I need you guys to do, is subscribe to my YouTube channel, Mark Cooks Inspires. Subscribe. I want to get my subscriptions up. I want my message to go out to more people in the world, and I'm telling you guys, I need your help. Not just on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, everywhere. Subscribe, Mark Cooks Inspires. Share the video. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you're on Instagram or if you're on Facebook, all I ask is that you share this video with one person. Post it on your feed on Instagram, post it on your feed on Facebook, or share with somebody who you think might find value in this message, because I truly want to help the world. I truly aspire to inspire until I expire. I really believe that God has given me a gift, and I'm not just doing this for myself. I'm doing it for my kids, I'm doing it for my mom, I'm doing it for my family, I'm doing it for everybody who loves and supports me. And I feel like God has put me on this earth to answer a calling. And as I always tell you guys, my calling is to speak, to preach, and to teach. I love you all. MC Inspires, Black Superman. Share, 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 subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Mark Cooks Inspires. It's in my Instagram. It's on my Facebook. Just click on it, hit the subscribe button, share this out. I love you always, and go get on that bike.